Xia Baolong, director of the Hong Kong and Macau Affairs Office, conducted a 3-day inspection tour of the Lok Ma Chau Loop, Qianhai Cooperation Zone, and Yantian Port, concluding on February 10. This visit, preceding the budget announcement on February 26, included meetings with Chief Secretary Eric Chan, Financial Secretary Paul Chan, and 7 other secretaries. A 4-hour discussion on Hong Kong's economy was held in Qianhai, where officials briefed Mr. Xia on the government's economic and financial plans for 2025. National Committee of the Chinese People's Political Consultative Conference, CPPCC. Advisor Lau Su Kai suggests the purpose was to assess the government's approach to the fiscal deficit. Following an attack by Turkmenistani players after a match against the Hong Kong men's ice hockey team at the Asian Winter Games, 3 Hong Kong players were injured. The Hong Kong Sports Institute and Olympic Committee strongly condemned the incident, demanding disciplinary action. 4 Turkmenistani athletes were subsequently suspended from the remainder of the Games. Hong Kong delegation head, Kenneth Fok, welcomed the decision, emphasizing that violence against athletes is unacceptable regardless of the game's outcome. The 2-month public consultation on proposed regulations for simple homes concluded yesterday, with the Housing Bureau receiving nearly 2,200 submissions, primarily via email and mail, including roughly 1,600 near-identical form letters. Since October 2023, the government engaged in nearly 40 meetings with almost 700 individuals from various sectors to gather input on tackling subdivided flats and regulating simple homes. The trial of Irene Pan and Shun Lam, accused of assisting Alex Kwong in his escape to Macau following the murder of Abby Choi, began yesterday. Both defendants admitted to facts presented by the prosecution and defense, with Lam claiming he was offered a business deal involving a boat rental but ultimately didn't rent the vessel and was therefore uninvolved. Court proceedings included the playback of voice messages, one of which featured a female voice inquiring about immediate departure arrangements for Shun and Irene. The defense argued that the defendant's knowledge of assisting alleged fugitives is questionable. A police officer testified that widespread media coverage of the Abby Choi case began on February 24, 2023, the first day of the charged offenses, but the exact time wasn't recorded. Another officer stated they were unaware if police publicly announced Kwong Kong Chi's wanted status at the time of his arrest. In the 131st day of the trial against Jimmy Lai, founder of Next Media and Apple Daily Limited, for conspiracy to collude with foreign forces, the prosecution questioned Lai about his concerns regarding foreign reactions to the implementation of the Hong Kong National Security Law, NSL. Lai confirmed attempts to hinder the law's enactment and mitigate its impact, but denied considering or expecting any specific foreign perspective on the NSL. Justice Li Wan Tang raised concerns about a May 2020 Twitter Now X post attributed to Lai, referencing Switzerland's response to the Hong Kong situation, seemingly contradicting Lai's claims. Lai denied authorship of the post. A lawsuit alleging asset misappropriation by the third wife and daughter of the late founder of the Lai Sun Group, Lin Baekson, opened in the High Court yesterday. High Power Development claims that Jiyu Ruiying and her daughter, Lin Mingzhu, while serving as directors, unfairly sold Shanghai project assets to their own offshore company, prioritizing personal gain over the company's interests, and alleging fraudulent behavior. A breakthrough in acute promyelocytic leukemia, APL, treatment has been achieved by a University of Hong Kong medical team. Their innovative, orally administered arsenic trioxide has demonstrated over 97% overall survival rate in clinical trials, addressing the high relapse rates and costs associated with current standard therapies. Already used in Hong Kong and recently approved by the FDA and EMA, this medication is poised for global distribution, targeting European and American registration by 2027-2028 to benefit more patients worldwide. Ms. Huang, 50, successfully treated her acute promyelocytic leukemia, APL, with a government-provided oral arsenic trioxide regimen at Queen Mary Hospital after experiencing ineffective and costly private treatment. This highlights the effectiveness and accessibility of public healthcare options. Hong Kong's economy faced challenges last year, leading to business closures and a 20% increase in consumer complaints to the Consumer Council, reaching 37,590, excluding mainland e-commerce, and totaling 1 billion Hong Kong dollars. This marks a 3-year upward trend, with closures being the most frequent complaint category, 6,567 cases. The Council attributes this to economic factors, including the mainland tourism boom, which presented both opportunities and unprecedented challenges for businesses. The Consumer Council received over 37,000 complaints last year, excluding those related to mainland e-commerce platforms, while complaints about product and service quality increased significantly, 17% and 34% respectively, totaling over 150 million Hong Kong dollars. The Council's proactive efforts are effectively addressing unscrupulous business practices like shortchanging customers, safeguarding consumer rights, and upholding Hong Kong's reputation in retail and tourism. A 30-year-old immigration department officer, Yu Shenghao, was convicted of using a document with intent to deceive his employer after a trial at Kowloon City Magistrates Court. He was found guilty of falsely claiming he wasn't engaged in outside employment while colluding with a former supervisor and colleague to defraud an insurance company of approximately 130,000 Hong Kong dollars in commission. Charges of conspiracy to defraud against Yu and his former colleagues were dismissed. Sentencing has been adjourned for a background report and social service report. The former supervisor and colleague were acquitted on all charges. Illegal off-road motorcycle activity in Lam Chun's Kei Kung Leng, Yuen Long, has plagued the area for years. 2 wildfires last month, covering a combined 500 hectares, 3.5 times the annual average in recent years, underscore the devastating consequences. Green Power, an environmental group, observed increased off-road motorcycle activity following each fire, with recent findings showing significant soil erosion where motorcycles have driven, stripping away scorched vegetation and exposing bare earth, while fines for illegal entry by motorcycles into country parks over the past 5 years ranged from $300 to $800. Green Power criticizes the insufficient penalties and ineffective enforcement, urging legislative amendments to increase fines and deter future violations. The Agriculture, Fisheries and Conservation Department, AFCD, reports that a series of vegetation restoration measures have been underway at Chickens Foot Ridge to address vegetation damage and soil erosion. While acknowledging challenges, the AFCD remains committed to these ongoing efforts. The New Territories District Council met with the Financial Secretary, Paul Chan, yesterday to present their budget proposals, suggesting various revenue-generating and economic revitalization measures, including expanding gambling options, basketball and snooker, to increase tax revenue, and building a Formula One racetrack in the northern metropolis to host Grand Prix events. Regarding the $2 elderly public transport concession, they proposed either implementing a monthly usage limit or raising the fare to reduce government expenditure. The Social Welfare Department, SWD, released a consultancy report proposing a new caregiver professional grade for care workers in residential care homes. Subsequent legislative council discussions revealed concerns that this alone is insufficient to attract new recruits, and questions arose regarding the appropriateness of SWD regulating medical procedures involved in the new role. The Labor and Welfare Bureau countered that this provides more career options for young people, and that the SWD's Licensing and Regulation Division already employs nurses who will oversee implementation through measures such as spot checks. The disbanded Hong Kong Alliance. Its former chairman Lee Chuk-yan, former vice chairpersons Albert Ho and Chow Hang-tung, were charged with inciting subversion of state power. Last year's amendment to Article 23 of the Basic Law, prohibiting the use of televised links to obtain evidence in national security cases, prevented Chow Hang-tung from calling 5 overseas witnesses for video testimony, a request the High Court rejected. The court ruled the amendment was constitutional and did not prejudice the defendant's right to a fair trial, dismissing Chow's claim of lacking evidence of witness harassment as a complete disregard for ongoing foreign interference and hostile actions against China. Hong Kong's National Security Department, NSD, arrested the sister and brother-in-law of former district councillor Lau Ka-man for assisting in their investigation into Lau's alleged violations of the national security law, specifically inciting secession and colluding with foreign or external forces to endanger national security. The two were released in the afternoon. Two teenagers, angered by another youth's winnings at mahjong, violently attacked him. One blinded the victim in his left eye with a metal pipe, while the other held a knife to the throats of bystanders and stole $12,000. The court commended the victim's youth and resilience, acknowledging the permanent impact of his injuries. The attacker who used the pipe received a 6-year prison sentence. The accomplice awaits sentencing. The founder of Wang Pun Solicitors, Wang Quang-wing, known as the Village House King, and Yuen Long District Councillor Cheng Chun-ming, were jointly charged by the ICAC with 1 count of conspiracy to defraud for allegedly engaging in flat splitting over 14 years. The case, originally scheduled to begin yesterday in the district court, was adjourned until today after the prosecution's application to amend the charges was rejected. The judge cited inaccuracies in both the original and amended charges, and requested the prosecution seek legal advice from the Department of Justice.